Some of the pitfalls are when you first start is obsessing too much over sounds. Generally people obsess over drums for too long, and then by the time they've moved on to other instruments, they'll probably be a bit deaf, because generally when you're working with drums you tend to turn it up. So try not to obsess too much and try and move on and move on through the song until you have the song into a shape, and then assess what's not working and what needs help. Because often, quite a while, you'll go back and you'll get to actually like the drums, and you go, oh, I like the character of this and this, and you might find, okay, well, I need to turn the kick drum up in the chorus a little bit more, and the snare's annoying me a bit. But if you've obsessed all day on the snare drum or the hi-hat or the way the beats work together, and it's not quite working perfectly for you in that section, you can become absorbed. And in the same way, you can become too absorbed over intricate parts of the song that don't help the whole of the song. And the idea is that you need to work on the song, really. And if you can listen to different monitors, you don't have to be, madly expensive monitors. I have a radio here which I spend a lot of time on working on, just simply because I can hear the whole piece of music as a whole, as opposed to a collection of whether the kick drum's perfect and whether the hi-hat's perfect or whether the panning's perfect. It just plays you the song, and at the end of the day, that's what we have to achieve. People do tend to listen to monitors too loud, and you can't sustain an objective view when it's too loud. Your balance doesn't work. Tuning even is hard to hear when it's loud. So yeah, don't listen too loud, and have lots of different speakers. And the reason why we have so many monitors here is because each one, I think, has a strength. I don't believe, this could get me in trouble, I don't believe there is one pair of speakers out there which are perfect and deliver everything you want to know. I think you need varied listening positions and different types of speakers to listen to at different volumes. Check it in the car if you need to, and give yourself some distance and take breaks. Great thing about Pro Tools is you can turn that song off and you can switch to another one. If it's the same album, if it's a different artist, if it's anything, just to clear your head. Then when you go back to the song that you're working on, you'll hear things that you will have missed, and it brings a different perspective, and you'll look at it and listen to it in a different light. I can work for a good couple of hours, 2 or 3 hours, no problem. Some people will only work in 20-minute spurts, and some really, really good mix engineers will literally only will hit it for 20 minutes and then they'll stop for half an hour sometimes. I know other mix engineers who have a kip in the middle of the afternoon, 20 minutes usually or whatever. The other thing which is slightly controversial as well is I like to work side on to the speakers, because when I'm editing and when I'm working with Pro Tools, I like to look at it this way. In my other room, I have a pair of speakers above the screen, so that when I'm turning to listen, I'm listening and I'm not looking, and I'm not distracted by anything. I'm just literally listening, and there's nothing to look at to take your mind away from what you're doing. Some people can't work like that, but listening is the most important thing. I always loved listening to records intently, so I would listen to an album hundreds of times to hear everything of it, because I found it quite difficult to hear everything all at once. So I would listen and to things and break it down. So whether it was Pink Floyd The Wall, or whether it was Rumours or Pet Sounds or whatever, I'd listen to it, and I realised that I was listening to individual elements. I would recommend that you listen to every genre of music you can, and listen to Radio 1, listen to Six Music, because you'll hear what other people are doing and the kind of frequency that other people are emphasising. Sometimes you'll listen to radio with some amazing top end, and you'll try and replicate that, and you'll listen to the vocals, and then you'll bring it in here, and you'll listen to it on Spotify and hear the clarity in it, and work on that part of the spectrum for a little while. And sometimes it'll be the bottom end that you'll hear another record on the radio or somewhere, and you'll bring it in and study what you've heard that you like so much about the bottom end of that, and then try and use that and reference that with the music that you're working on at the time. And slowly you'll kind of build up different palettes, if you like, and not every song requires the same audio spectrum. Some really need to be shelved. Some don't need the top end at all and sound more powerful for it. Listen to the new Iggy Pop album. It's really round. There's very little spiky top end. There's very little kind of massive sub, but it just sits in a kind of 70s, for want of a better word, place, and it sounds amazing loud. You know, and work on that and work on seeing how that was achieved, because once you get an understanding how all of those types of sounds work, you can then adjust that to your own palette. I had some really great teachers like Flood and Alan Moulder and Spike Stent, Adam Mosley. I really enjoyed watching them work, and I seeing the enjoyment that they had making these records was great. And now with the advent of you know, Mix with the Masters and Pensalo's Place and all of those things, you get a glimpse, and out of all of those you'll pick up something that will stick with you, however small it is. You can watch YouTube and you can watch videos and you can glean information that up until now has just been impossible unless you sat in a room with these people like Flood or Alan. It's great now to have this amount of information out there that you can draw on all the time. Mixing is only an extension of being a recording engineer. I really firmly believe that you need a grounding in engineering. By that I mean recording. Mixing can be really insular. You could just sit there for weeks on your own fiddling, and I think it's better if you can bounce off with other people. But learn your craft through recording, and recording drums, recording a drum kit, understanding the phase between microphones. It's not rocket science. It's not, mic placement is important, but it's not the be all and end all, and you just got to experiment, and if you get it wrong, it doesn't really matter that much. It's just, you can correct things like that. So spend some time understanding different types of sounds, what different types of bass sounds, and so you understand that one bass, like a Rickenbacker, will sound very different to Precision, will sound very different to a Moog, and it'll have different properties, and just trying to understand those things and trying to understand what it is you're trying to create. And I think that comes from recording, to be honest.